And with that, my clock says it is 2:35. We're going to give people about 5 minutes to find their session and get where they needed to be. So with that, we're going to go ahead and dive right in. Welcome. I am joining you from sunny Selah this afternoon, where it is a nice 94 degrees on our way to 97. We know that we have people joining from all over the state, but here in South Central Washington, it is toasty as we get going. We want to welcome you to this afternoon's session, Developing a High School Career-Connected Learning Culture that Supports the High School and Beyond Plan. I always want to make sure you read the session and make sure people are where they think they're supposed to be. We're happy to have you join us. We have a lot to share with you today. And the 85 minutes that we've been given for today's presentation, just want to say right up front, that's going to be just enough time to begin a conversation about developing a career-connected learning culture in your school. We'll be providing you with a link to our slide deck, as well as to our Google Doc with links to all of the resources that we'll be sharing and many, many more. Matter of fact, Maddie, if you would go ahead and put into the chat the link to our Google Doc so that while we are going through introductions, people can go ahead and open up the Google Doc. You can follow along in that Google Doc, and it's got all the links to the resources that we will be sharing with you today. And at the very bottom is the link to the slide deck that we're using so that you don't have to take any copious notes today, because everything's going to be right there as far as all the resources are all right there on the Google Doc that you'll have access to. It's our hope that you'll find the presentation and the links to the related resources incredibly beneficial as you prepare your students for their own career-connected learning adventure. And Maddie, if you would advance our slide for us, please. My name is Mark Cheney, and it's my privilege to serve as the co-director of the South Central Washington STEM Network and Career Connect Washington Regional Network. I'm joined this afternoon by two of my colleagues from the STEM team at ESD 105. Actually, three of my colleagues, two on camera, and then behind the scenes, want to go ahead and give a shout out right now to our very capable administrative assistant, Maddie Rogers, who is going to be assisting us in the background. Hugo?
Hello, everyone. My name is Hugo Moreno, and I serve as the co-director of the South Central STEM Network and Career Connect Washington Regional Network at ESD 105. Thank you for being here today.
And good afternoon. My name is Shelley O'Neill. I am honored to work with our South Central Washington STEM Network as well as a Career Connected Learning Coordinator for ESD 105. We welcome you today.
When we think about career-connected learning, for the last probably about 7 years, we have been focused on career-connected learning here at the STEM Network. And we're located in, like I said, in Yakima is where ESD 105 is located. And it was about 7 years ago that we really started looking at career pathways in STEM. We've been focused on making sure that all students in South Central Washington have access to a high-quality STEM education. But then about 7 years ago, we realized we also really want to make sure that they can seamlessly transition into in-demand jobs right here in our region. And so we kind of made a little bit of a shift at that time to really start thinking about career-connected learning. And we're excited to share some of our adventure, our journey with you today. But before we dive into the actual presentation, do want to do a land acknowledgement. Here in South Central Washington, we are privileged to come to you from the traditional lands of the Confederated Tribes of the Yakima Nation. And on our slide, we just recognize the fact that because this is a statewide conference, and we have people coming, joining our session from all over the state, We recognize the contributions, and we recognize the fact that we are coming to you from the lands of our indigenous people here, and we are happy to be coming to you from the lands of the Yakima Nation. With that, we want to go ahead and frame today's conversation by engaging you right up front in an activity, and Hugo is going to explain our highest paid game.
Thanks, Mark. So, as he mentioned, to help frame our conversation today, we'd like to start with a game called the highest paid game. This is from Kevin Fleming's book, Redefining the Goal, The True Path to Career Readiness in the 21st Century. In this game, we will rank the following occupations from highest to lowest based on their income or earnings. We will do so using the Poll Everywhere link that Maddie will be dropping into the chat. After clicking on the link, you will be asked to enter your name. Feel free to enter anything here. The name isn't really important. Feel free to put in Daffy Duck, Mickey Mouse, whatever you'd like, as long as it's appropriate. And that should take you straight to the poll, where once you have access to the poll, you should be able to move the different occupations around with the toggle feature on the left-hand side. And so please rank and order the occupations, the 10 occupations, on what you think their earning potential are. We will give you guys 5 minutes to complete your responses, which will be reflected here live on our presentation. And after that, we will have a little reflection time.
Yeah. So Hugo, do you drag and drop these things, or how do you move these things around to put them in order?
So once you're in the poll, there's an option on the left-hand side of each occupation listed that allows you, I think 2 arrows come up and allows you to either move the occupation up or down.
Great. And how long do they have to do the poll?
We will be giving you guys 5 minutes to complete the poll.
And away you go.
All right. Correct. Highest at the top, and then the lowest at the bottom. Thank you for your question, Nancy.
So how'd we do, Hugo?
All right, let's go to the next slide. It looks like we have air traffic controller, electrical power line installer, repairer. Oh, air traffic controller, move to number 1. Electrical power line installer, number 2, and diagnostic medical photographer, number 3. Okay. So, Maddie, could you go on to the next screen as these results are not coming in anymore, and we can look at the correct answers to this.
And the highest, I see in the chat, we had a question around highest at the top or highest at the bottom, Hugo?
Highest at the top, lowest at the bottom, correct. Okay, and here are our results. As we can see from the results listed, it's pretty consistent to what we saw in the responses we were getting. There's a few variations there, but pretty consistent. But from what we can see is that there are many pathways for our students to choose from in order to obtain a family wage job. There's a wide variation in educational attainment and career pathways amongst the occupations. Increased education, surprisingly, does not always guarantee an increase in income. However, all of the occupations listed and about 70% of the jobs in Washington State require a post-secondary credential. Creating, expanding, and supporting the development of career-connected learning and career and technical education programs guided by data and labor market information is crucial to the work of the STEM network and regional network. We believe in creating multiple pathways to success for our students, and we do this by analyzing labor market needs to understand what the in-demand and family wage jobs are to help guide our students in selecting the appropriate post-secondary pathway and for them, and based on each student's individual interests, learning styles, and skills. As we can see here, there's a number of different pathways, as I mentioned, and really it's looking to see what is the best fit for our students. As we can see, air traffic controller there at the top only requires an associate's degree, as well as the dental hygienist, and the electrical power line installer / repairer actually requires an apprenticeship in OJT. Surprisingly, our occupations there with master degrees actually ended up being the lowest paid. Now, these are just 10 occupations, but I think it helps show the picture that we're trying to portray, that there are different pathways for our students to take in order to find that family wage and in-demand career job. I will now turn it over to Mark Cheney, who will introduce a video with some strategies and data to help support our students in their college and career readiness.
Yeah. So the highest paid game comes from a book that Hugo and I have spent a significant amount of time on, and our team is we're preparing to. We've been doing a lot out of Kevin Fleming's book, Redefining the Goal. And it was an aha. The first time Hugo and I played this game and read the book, Redefining the Goal, it was a real shocker for me as an individual who has a master's degree and really enough credits for my PhD, but just got too lazy for a thesis, to think that we look at the jobs and the income potential for 2-year associates, technical degrees, as well as internships and apprenticeships, and it was a real shocker for us. And today, to frame a little bit about that conversation, we want to introduce you to a YouTube video by Dr. Kevin Fleming called Success in the New Economy. I shared earlier the fact that we really started our career-connected learning work about 7 years ago, and that work began with some data, some information that really kind of rocked our world, that it wasn't always, we've been very much around a college for all type of philosophy in our STEM network, and it was a real eye-opener for us to see that a lot of in-demand family wage STEM jobs did not require a bachelor's degree or above. So with that, we want to give you the opportunity to join us as we watch Success in the New Economy by Dr. Kevin Fleming. That is, as soon as we get the sound figured out. Not very impactful when you're just watching the slides.
Okay, let's try this.
There is a widespread belief that the job market is just waiting for hordes of ambitious, eager young graduates to slide into high-paying jobs in the corner office. They just need to go to college, right? Well, the data tells a different story. Charts like this imply a correlation between higher income and additional education, showing on average that a person with a university degree earns far more money than the average person without a high school diploma. This reliance on averages and perceived higher earnings for having a 4-year degree has fueled a college-for-all philosophy, causing educators and parents to encourage going to the university, any university, to major in anything in pursuit of social mobility and financial prosperity. This belief has increased college and university enrollment to an all-time high, resulting in 66% of high school graduates in this country enrolling in higher education right after high school. That's 2 out of 3. The problem isn't that we need more students to attend college. The problem is too many students who enter are not completing. For most college students, it takes too long and they simply lose interest. Others are juggling too much, or they discovered they picked the wrong major or attended the wrong institution for them. Since most students are told a university degree guarantees a higher salary, many delay their career planning until after college graduation, resulting in 62% of students reporting they feel disengaged because they don't see the connection between their coursework and their future career. And so today, only a quarter of those that initially enroll will finish a bachelor's degree. You see, our educational system is very well-intentioned, but incredibly misaligned. The pendulum has swung too far towards college preparation at any cost and away from skill attainment. We even encourage a college-going culture as early as elementary school, with university pennants decorating second-grade classrooms, and we spend an exorbitant amount of time in high school getting into college. Education is core to our economy, but in order to guide our educational systems and maximize future income, we must understand this misalignment between education and our workforce. At some point in recent history, we have transitioned from asking the more important question of what knowledge and skills do you need to be employable and to contribute to your community, to now simply asking, graduates are still underemployed well into their 30s. We know that success in today's world depends on aligning students' academics with both their skills and available job opportunities. Yet there is growing evidence of a skills gap in which many Americans are not receiving the essential skills that are needed. Recently, a survey was conducted to find out if the skills found within the local workforce match the skills that employers need in the new economy. We found that employers experience difficulty finding applicants with strong technical skills, as well as problem-solving skills, applied math skills, and basic technical training. Unlike 3 generations ago, having hands-on skills and perfecting what you're good at can be more valuable in today's economy than getting a degree in something simply to get one. In fact, when hiring, business leaders say a candidate's knowledge and applied skills in a specific field are more important factors than where the candidate went to school or their college major. The economy and the world have dramatically changed. In 1960, when taking into account all jobs in the American economy, 20% required a 4-year degree or higher, 20% were technical jobs requiring skilled training, and 60% were classified as unskilled. But what's the right percentage to meet the labor market demand for tomorrow? Georgetown University predicts only 33% of all jobs will require a 4-year degree or more in the future, while the overwhelming majority will be highly skilled jobs requiring professional occupation that requires a master's degree or more. Approximately 2 professional jobs require a university degree, and there are over half a dozen jobs requiring a 1-year certificate or 2-year degree. And each of these technicians are in very high-skilled areas that are in great demand. So while most jobs in the future will require some education and training beyond high school, the majority of occupations will not require a bachelor's degree or more. It was the same in 1960, the same in 2000, and will be the same in 2040. Very well intentioned, the recent college for all rhetoric is often misinterpreted as university for all. This message needs to be significantly broadened to a post-high school credential for all. Students at various educational levels have left school without essential skills, setting up our children for failure, costing them and taxpayers millions, all while the labor market is desperate for highly trained, skilled technicians. One of the essential purposes of education should be to help students develop the knowledge and skills needed to search for and obtain work that they find satisfying. Fortunately, today's students no longer need to decide between higher education or career preparation. It's possible and increasingly necessary to achieve both. So how do you position yourself for satisfying in-demand jobs? Let's say you were considering a career as either an electrician or a business manager. You would find that the average annual income for electricians is $53,000, only about half of the $99,000 average wage for management occupations. So at first glance, it looks as if getting a bachelor's degree in business is a no-brainer. But adding skills and ability into the picture adds a whole new dynamic. What if you have the potential to become an excellent electrician, but lack the skills and ability to be an excellent manager? Then you should be looking at projected incomes towards the bottom of the pay scale for managers and towards the top for electricians. You would then discover that electricians near the top of the pay scale make around $90,000, far higher than the income of a manager near the bottom of the pay scale at $44,000. Now, this is just one example, but the concept is true throughout all industries. The claim that you will make more money with an increased amount of education is not necessarily inaccurate, it's just incomplete. That advice is based just on the averages, but no one is perfectly average. Everyone has unique skills, talents, and gifts. Truth is, the income for the top individuals in a wide variety of technical jobs is far higher than the average income for occupations requiring a 4-year degree. Nationally, Associate degree earners range between 29,000 and 76,000, while bachelor's recipients earn between 37,000 and 102,000. But this data only accounts for the 25th percentile to the 75th percentile of full-time adult workers. This means 25% of associate degree holders earn more than 76,000 annually, while 25% of bachelor's degree holders earn less than 37,000. Our world has changed, and the university degree is no longer the guaranteed path towards financial success as it was for previous generations. And even if you do earn one, that education alone may not be enough. In today's highly technical, knowledge-based economy, employers want to know what you can do and what you can do well, not just what degree hangs on your wall. And new and emerging occupations in every industry now require a combination of academic knowledge and technical ability. One without the other is insufficient. We need to ensure we're providing students with all the essential skills required to be competitive upon graduation. So before enrolling in classes or deciding what you're going to do next in your life, step one is self-exploration. Take multiple assessments and really analyze your talents and strengths. Step two is career exploration. Understand the jobs available, the income ranges they pay, and evaluate both the knowledge and skills they require. After researching all the possibilities, then engage in career planning by setting a flexible career goal based on your personality and abilities and not just your interests. This doesn't have to be what you want to do for the rest of your life. Just set a goal of what you want to do first. Only then can you develop a skills-based education plan, including your tentative career goal with multiple education and training options, both inside and outside the classroom. This could include community college, military service, a university, volunteering, registered apprenticeship programs, industry certifications, or gaining work experience. There are multiple paths to success. This is especially true if you are entrepreneurial. 77% of students want to be their own boss, and creating good jobs while rebuilding America's middle class hinges on the success of small businesses and startups. The new secret to success is to create ample opportunities to explore and hone one's skills and to choose an initial career aligned with who you are. This alignment will help ensure one's position at the top of each pay scale. For the sake of our students, our families, and our country, we can't afford to get this wrong any longer. The time has come to redefine the goal for our students. Is the goal simply graduation or degree attainment? Or is the ultimate goal a relevant education to secure a well-paying career where they are both fulfilled and competitive in today's fierce job market? To ultimately secure a competitive advantage in the new economy, all students need a rigorous general education combined with applied technical skills, industry-recognized certifications, and specific preparation for employment. Will they be ready?
I don't know if everybody had difficulties with the video going in and out, but I did, and just in case, we have at the very bottom of the Google Sheet, there is the link for, or on our Google Sheet, there is the link for the Success in the New Economy video. I encourage you to go to YouTube and check it out. Hugo and I have seen it, I don't even know how many times, and every time I see it, I'm challenged by something different from the video. Hugo?
All right. So after watching the video, we wanted to take a few minutes to reflect on the information shared by Kevin Fleming. In order to do so, we have created a Jamboard to capture your thoughts and initial reactions to the Success of the New Economy video. You can access the Jamboard by clicking on the link that will be provided in the chat. There are 3 different Jamboard slides and prompts, so you are able to toggle through and record the responses. We will be giving you 5 minutes to go through each slide and jot down your responses, and we'll be sharing some common themes at the end. All right. Sorry about those technical difficulties. As we can see from some of the responses, though, it looks like a lot of us were surprised with how the wages line up with some of those occupations, and also the data about averages and how it ignores the top and bottom 25% of some of those earnings. I also saw a couple of responses asking about how high school students are able to accurately gauge their talents and ability, and so that they're able to adequately choose their correct pathway. And that's actually one of the things that we actually are going to talk about a little bit later today, but it's really important to help our students, whether it's through interest profilers, exploring careers, participating in career connected learning opportunities where they're able to learn about different pathways and occupations, to get them that exposure to be able to help them plan that post-secondary, that next post-secondary STEM. Let's see, a couple more responses I'm looking through here. Again, another one around averages being misleading. Maybe we should use range instead of averages. I agree, averages can be misleading at times. And then also, yeah, just echoing one of the other responses from earlier is helping our students with their high school and beyond plan, to help them plan that post-secondary career pathway, and then also helping our students find a good fit is the key, and then encouraging them to pursue stackable credentials. So we have a number of different responses, but common theme seems to be the surprise around the earning potential related to educational attainment. Mark, any thoughts there?
Nope. I'm just glad we finally got it to work. People finally got into the Jamboard. So today we're juggling a whole bunch of technology and a platform that we are pretty unfamiliar with. So thanks for being our guinea pigs today.
All right.
And Matt, could advance to the next slide for us. This is our mission statement for the South Central Washington STEM Network. And one of the things that we've always been about, when you think about our mission, to build a region-wide network of stakeholders that collaborate to ensure that all community members have access to high-quality STEM education and career-connected learning opportunities. That portion has been in our mission statement for many, many years. But then in the last few years, the leadership team for our network has added this last section, resulting in an interest-driven career path that leads to an in-demand family wage job and economic vitality for the region. One of the things that we have found, not only in just really looking at some of the research that Kevin Fleming has provided for us, and one of the things I did want to add is we will be adding the link to the research behind the Success in the New Economy video to the Google Doc. We inadvertently forgot to put the link on there, so we'll be adding that link so you can look at some of the research behind Kevin Fleming's video and his book. So we'll be adding those pieces. And one of the things that really came to us was the fact that we have a lot of our students who do go to college, graduate with a degree, and then find themselves still looking for a job. And one piece of sobering data from the state of Washington was the fact that a year after graduating with a bachelor's degree in the state of Washington, a year after, 53% of college graduates are either still looking for a job or they're employed in a job that they are underemployed. So they're way more skilled than the job that they're in requires. And one of the things we definitely know is that oftentimes then they're still carrying a whole bunch of student debt from student loans and are ill prepared to pay it off. So we had committed as a STEM network to really ensure that our work was around not just getting kids to and through a post-secondary credential, but that it was very important to our leadership that they're choosing a path that has an in-demand job at the end of it and a family wage job that makes a family wage. And to tell us more about that and to introduce you to some of the resources that we share with teachers, counselors, and administrators, Hugo's going to take you through some of our favorite resources.
Thanks, Mark. So after watching the video and talking about this data a little bit, we may be asking ourselves, how are students in our district faring when it comes to post-secondary credential attainment? How are they doing as far as earnings once they obtain that degree or credential? and what are some tools that we can use to help guide our students into those in-demand family wage jobs. So as Mark mentioned, I'd like to share a few resources that we use in our work to help us build programs that result in those in-demand family wage jobs. First of all, I want to touch on the ERDC, which is the Washington State Education Research and Data Center. The Washington ERDC compiles data about students as they move through school to the workforce. It transforms this data into insights that inform the decision-making of legislators, parents, and education providers. The ERDC works with partner agencies to develop powerful analysis of learning that can improve student outcomes. The website also contains a number of useful data dashboards that include a high school graduate outcome dashboard, which measures the first year enrollment in post-secondary institution for high school graduates. They also have an enrollment by institution dashboard that measures the enrollment in many of our 2-year career and technical education and 4-year institutions in Washington State. It has a pre-college course taking dashboard, a persistence and retention data dashboard, as well as two that we use quite often in our work, which is the post-secondary completion dashboard, which measures post-secondary completion, or those students who have earned a degree or certificate at a post-secondary institution or completion of an apprenticeship program at some point in the 8 academic years following their high school graduation. In addition to that, there's also a dashboard that highlights student earnings based on graduation year. So the dashboard measures earnings for students and are displayed for years after high school graduation and filtered based on educational attainment. What's great about these data dashboards is that the data can be disaggregated and sorted by school district, high school, and even demographics, including gender and race and ethnicity. So we can really use this data to take a look and see where those gaps are, which of our students are struggling, which are doing well, and how we can implement strategies to help those that maybe aren't doing so well. The next resource I'd like to talk about is ONET Online. ONET Online is a free online tool for career exploration and job analysis. It has detailed job descriptions of the world of work to be used by job seekers, workforce development, and HR professionals, students, researchers, and more. ONET Online is funded by the U.S. Department of Labor and is used to help individuals learn about what jobs or industries may be of interest to them based on a personal interest survey that they provide. Individuals are then able to explore different occupations within an industry of interest based on that interest survey, and as well as other useful data such as wage information and industry credential requirements. It also allows the job seeker to know if the occupation is in demand and whether it has a positive projected job growth or not. In addition to that, job seekers are able to look at an occupation and compare wages and earnings based on county or state level. Following that, we have the Washington State Employment Security Department Labor Market Info. The Labor Market and Economic Analysis team is a one-stop data shop composed of state and regional economists, economic analysts, researchers, and many others who collect and analyze data about Washington State's employment conditions, economy, job market, and workforce. The Employment Security Department also hosts the Learn About an Occupation page, which lets individuals browse through a number of occupations that includes information on education or training required, projected job growth, and whether the occupation is in demand or not. This is specific to Washington State and can be sorted by state or county level. In addition to that, the Learn About an Occupation page also features a list called the Demand Decline List. This is, like I mentioned, also housed under the same Learn About an Occupation tab, but it allows job seekers or students to see what jobs are in demand or which are in decline, which are neutral in regions across Washington State. As I mentioned earlier, this data can be sorted and displayed at both the state and county level. And last one up there is MIT's Living Wage Calculator. So MIT developed a living wage calculator to estimate the cost of living in your community or region based on typical expenses. The tool helps individuals, communities, and employers determine a local wage rate that allows residents to meet minimum standards of living. The living wage model is an alternative measure of basic needs, as it measures a number of expenditures that families require in order to meet their basic necessities. The living wage draws on these cost elements and the rough effects of income and payroll taxes to determine the minimum employment earnings necessary to meet a family's basic needs. We use this tool in our work when we develop programs, and we want to make sure that they're family wage for our region. What's great about this tool is that it allows you to break down the data and disaggregate it based on county and family size. So when we look at programs for development in our region, this is a useful tool to make sure that it is going to lead to a family wage job for our students in our ESD 105 region, or looking at different counties listed as well, what that may be across the state or even across the country. Next page, please, or next slide, I should say. Now I'd like to touch on a couple of our local Career Connected Learning partners. So these are partners that work closely with our work around Career Connected Learning, whether that be career exploration, career awareness, career preparation, or career launch. First off, we have the South Central Washington STEM Network, which is the organization that Mark and I work for. The South Central STEM Network serves as one of the 10 STEM networks across the state and is supported by Washington STEM. It is an organization that serves as the regional network, developing and expanding career-connected learning opportunities for students in the ESD 105 region. We use data and partnerships with education, workforce development, higher education, industry, and community organizations to support growth and equity in our career pathway development. We also work closely with the South Central Workforce Development Council in our region. They're a regional organization that administers and runs the Department of Labor Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act job training programs. They also assist local employers in developing a ready workforce and partners with the South Central STEM Network in developing career pathways for our students. We have also co-hosted industry roundtables to learn about our local businesses and local employers to make sure that our programs are meeting that local employer demand as well. And lastly, we have the Yakima County Development Association. The Yakima County Development Association's goals are to enhance the income, quality of life, and employment stability of Yakima County residents by retaining, expanding, and recruiting new businesses and industry. They're a crucial partner in identifying employer needs to inform program development in both career and technical education and career-connected learning to make sure that we're meeting the employer needs of our local community. They're also able to provide up-to-date labor market information through a platform called JobsEQ. What's great about this platform is that they're able to pull job postings and get up-to-date data based on live job listings. This allows us to quickly see what changes are happening within our region as far as our labor market and to be able to quickly respond to those as well. They have a great pulse on the labor market for our region, and we would really encourage you to reach out and partner with your local economic development council as well. Okay, and I should mention all of these resources will be provided. There will be a link provided on the Google Doc that Mark mentioned as well. And now that we have learned about a number of resources to help us identify in-demand and family-wage jobs, I'd like to turn it over to Shelly O'Neill, who will teach us about resources that can help prepare our students for their post-secondary path.
Thank you, Hugo. As we transition right now to career and college readiness, we know that career and college readiness refers to the knowledge and skills needed to be successful in post-secondary education, training, and preparing students to navigate the workforce and enter gainful employment. It's important for our students to determine that their career aspirations, to determine their career aspirations and then design an educational pathway that will follow suit. So for a few minutes this afternoon, I just want to kind of briefly run over some of that. As we've referenced already, in Washington, 70% of all jobs will require a post-secondary credential, combining academic knowledge and technical ability. The first place we begin is with our high school and beyond plan, and it is critical in a student's career pathway. Most of you know that through OSPI, the high school and beyond plan is used to guide a student through middle school and high school for their experience and preparation for graduation and to navigate their post-secondary aspirations. The high school and beyond plan revolves around three questions: who am I? What can I become? And how do I become that? This plan, as a graduation requirement, also helps students get the most out of high school by thinking about their future. As students are working with high school counselors and advisors to create their individual plan or a personalized pathway throughout high school, we encourage them to revise that plan annually and to accommodate changing interests and post-secondary goals and what they expect to do the following year after high school. Post-secondary aspirations can include pathways for an application to four-year colleges, or two-year and four-year colleges or universities, technical schools, apprenticeship programs, industry-recognized certification programs, military training, and of course, on-the-job training. As we keep our high school and beyond plan in current and in front of us, and we keep our career graduation pathways in mind, I want to briefly take you through my top 5 resources that help teachers and counselors, students and parents work toward the goal of becoming career and college ready. So as we begin, I want to start with Washington Career Bridge. And as that's coming up, there's so many great resources, but I'm just going to do 5 this afternoon. Washington Career Bridge, as I have mentioned previously, we want students to examine various career fields. Sometimes, though, they might choose an occupation or a career field or a college based on maybe what their parents did, what their friends are doing, who has the best football team. But we want them to step back and really look at a career. Once they can gain a career aspiration, then we can back it up and create an educational pathway for them. So Career Bridge is an incredible resource for career and education planning. This survey takes about 20 minutes for a student to take. It isn't very long at all. And after they take that, and that is under the Explore Career tab. After they take that interest quiz, then it is, the results become immediate and they can compare their interests and abilities to 16 career clusters that are currently available. After they explore those careers, they'll explore clusters and then they will explore careers under each cluster. Then when they have a pretty good feeling about what they might want to do, they can go into view job trends. And next in that area, they're discovering if a career is growing and how much it pays to see if it might reflect an in-demand job. After they go with that, they can find education. And this website searches nearly 6,000 educational programs to find location and costs, and if a student can obtain a job, what industries they might want to work in. They can find out what colleges or what technical schools or what programs will have the education they need for that career. Also, some things that you may not know about Washington Career Bridge, it has a self-sufficiency calculator. So it finds the real cost of living right where you live. It has help with resumes and interviews and job fairs. And it does post like new job trainings or online training. It also has an online training from the State Department of Labor and Industries. So if students are planning on kind of looking like a very basic look into what careers are available or what things might like surprise them or what things they might aspire to, this is my go-to, my number 1 pick. My second pick, if students are planning, pretty sure that they're going straight to college, I recommend Ready, Set, Grad. One of the biggest obstacles that keeps students from pursuing a post-secondary degree is that most students and parents, they don't know where to begin. And they get overwhelmed quickly and don't realize there are multiple ways to pursue education and how to finance that education. So Ready, Set, Grad is a program to help ensure that every student in Washington State has access to tools and information and support they need to help a high school student as they graduate and make college accessible and affordable. Our research indicates that career pathways should begin by 5th grade. And I love this resource because it begins with students who are entering the 6th grade, and it goes all the way up with tools and resources and questions to ask all the way through college. But it doesn't stop there. There are also resources for parents and educators, all of those entities that can be readily available to help support students, as well as resource listings on how to pay for college. So if you're looking for some additional resources, this is my number 2. Number 3 this afternoon is College Board. And I am sure all of you are familiar with College Board. College Board helps students prepare for a successful transition from college through programs and services. They really specialize in college readiness and college success through the SAT testing. They also use the Advanced Placement program and Big Future. College Board right now represents over 6,000 of the world's leading colleges, schools, and educational organizations. And so while many of us are very familiar with an SAT or Advanced Placement prep, College Board also equips students with college planning checklists, and those checklists begin in the 9th grade. But I have to tell you that within this website, my favorite piece is Big Future. So I have used this in a number of advisory classes that I have spoken in. Big Future is a very fun, innovative tool where students can research over 2,000 colleges, and that you can filter your college by a major, a location, the college type, if it's public or private, the size, if you want to go to a small or medium or large college, perhaps what sports they have, what kind of campus life, how affordable is it. So we have used this in a number of instances, in a number of classes, and just had a lot of fun with it. The other thing that this Big Future can do is students can see how they may stack up. So they can take their current GPA. When we were using test scores, and of course we'll see how the SAT and ACT test scores kind of pan out through college admissions, they can actually take some of those components of their application and they can see how they stack up. Or in other words, what percentage of incoming students are being admitted into that college. For instance, if you have a 3-point GPA at University of Washington, maybe, what percentage of, if I have that GPA, what percentage of incoming freshmen are being admitted. So that's a really nice one, just to see, do I have the components or do I have the ability to actually be admitted into this school? Financial aid, application deadlines, and a career finder resource is also included in Big Future. So that's a fun one. My number 4th pick is Washington Student Achievement Council. And we have used this resource and so many times I can't even begin to tell you. And I need to do a disclaimer. These are not top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is just top 5. So these are not in my order. These are just my go-to resources. So WASAC provides materials and resources for completing applications for college admissions and financial aid. We know that nationally, 84% of our seniors who complete a financial application are most likely to enroll in a 2-year, 4-year technical school. We know the importance of that financial aid package. And so through WASAC, they have developed the Washington Financial Aid Advising Day and the 12th Year Campaign. Both of these are full programs designed to help a student apply for admission to a college, a university, or technical institution, and to apply for financial aid. I will tell you, I have used the workbooks for the 11th grade 12th workbook resource from WASAC for a number of years. And I have used it for students not only applying to college, but applying to a technical school, to military, or to the workforce. You can modify that workbook for any of those pieces. Another piece with WASAC is they have some data points of interest, and they include information on the College Bound Scholarship, how to sign up, and the Repledge program. And one of my favorite tools is the FAFSA completion dashboard. And it can be reviewed by individual schools or districts. And then it also has regional and state percentages. All of that is available. So WASAC has that 12th year college campaign, the Financial Aid Advising Day, and information on College Bound. And then WACAN is my last resource for you this afternoon, Washington Access College Network. And they are also an incredible resource for you to use. They believe that all students can pursue a post-secondary education. And they use the term college to refer to the attainment of valuable post-secondary credentials. And that goes beyond high school. So it includes professional and technical certificates and academic degrees. And as Maddie's showing the screen, this is a really fun piece to end out my top 5 resources because it's College Knowledge Project. If you have not seen this resource, I encourage you to look through it. It consists of 23 student-tested and approved very colorful digital handouts, and they're all compiled in a workbook. They're designed to support college and career education planning. The workbooks can be ordered through the 12th year campaign as well, and they include information about picking the right high school classes, preparing for your senior year, the college application, the technical school application, apprenticeships, FAFSA, WASFA, financial aid, scholarships, and so much more. I love this resource. It also is available in 5 languages right now, and you can order it. You can order hard copies of the workbook, or you can get it digital. So I have a lot of teachers that I have worked with that use this because it starts in the 9th grade, and it just they'll use it through advisory classes. A lot of high school English classes will use this, and financial algebra classes will use this as well. So it's a great resource for you to kind of look into. WACAN also has resources that include college maps and college bound resources. So, you know, in conclusion, it really is possible for students to be career and college ready. And so we've included right now just a few minutes. Well, I'm not sure. Mark, I'm going to send that to you. Do you want them to look at resources right now, or do we want to continue on? Okay.
I think we've run out of time on that one,
Great.
Shelley. I think we're going to need to continue on. Since we have a hard stop at 3:55. Yep. Well, Hugo gave us a chance to really look at, we think about some priority areas in our career connected learning work. And Hugo gave us an opportunity to look at that. We want to make sure that when we're advising students that their path leads to an in-demand family wage job. And we've looked at some key resources that you can use to make sure that those are in-demand family wage jobs at the end of that post-secondary pathway. Shelley has talked about some amazing resources around career and college readiness. And let me tell you, if you look at the Google Doc, Shelly focused on her top 5, but she listed probably her top 30. So there's lots of additional sites on the Google Doc for you to explore in your own time. And then we want to, you can go ahead and advance the slide, Maddie. The last piece we want to end with today is just some regional resources that we have found to be really, really helpful and that we would put out there as some real go-to points of contact. So we're going to talk just a second about Career Connect Washington. We're going to talk a little bit about regional networks, the Career Connect Washington directory, some of the resources that STEM networks can provide, and the Shelleys out there, the ESD Career Connected Learning Coordinators. You can go ahead and advance, Maddie. Our work is so much driven by legislation and what comes out of Olympia, whether it's legislation, whether it's House Bill 22 or 2224 around really requiring a high school and beyond plan, whether it's House Bill 1599 that really required graduation pathways and really established CTE graduation pathways. Another key piece of legislation around career-connected learning work was House Bill 2158, which funded Career Connect Washington. You can advance. House Bill 2158 provided resources for Career Connect Washington to establish regional networks. And we've talked about the fact that here in South Central Washington, our STEM network actually plays the role of the regional network. Also, funding for program intermediaries to develop career-connected learning opportunities for students. And then our CCW, our graduation pathway specialists, or our career-connected learning coordinators. Maddie? In your slide deck, you will have these slides which have the contact information, no matter where you happen to be joining us from this afternoon across the state. There are regional networks that are there to support you in around career-connected learning work. Whether it's career awareness and exploration activities, whether it's career prep or the development of career launch opportunities, regional networks bring businesses as well as higher education partners, community organizations, all together to work on a menu of career-connected learning opportunities for your region. You'll see there in South Central Washington, we have our contact information. We serve in our STEM network, we serve Grant, Kittitas, Klickitat, and Yakima counties with different career-connected learning opportunities. But this will provide you easy access to see, boy, I really want to find out what are all the different career-connected learning opportunities for my students. This gives you the opportunity to reach out and connect with one of the regional networks in the state. Next. In addition to funding our regional networks, Career Connect Washington also provided resources and provides grants for program intermediaries to develop new programs. In our region, we have been so fortunate to have an Aerospace Joint Apprenticeship Committee as one of our partners, and it has allowed us to develop apprenticeship opportunities both in school, for in-school youth, as well as out of school in advanced manufacturing, in industrial maintenance, healthcare, IT, and so we've been real excited to work with our program intermediaries, AJAT, in all things advanced manufacturing and food processing as well. Computing for All has been one of our program intermediaries in the whole area of IT, and we've been able to develop our computer and software technician program for in-school youth, leading to industry certification upon completion of that program, and providing credits should a student decide they want to pursue a degree in computer science. We've also worked with ITAC, the Independent Technicians Automotive Committee, to develop apprenticeship opportunities in the automotive industry. And then we've worked with some of our higher ed partners around opportunities around data analytics. So we've worked with WSU to develop the data analytics internship opportunity. So our program intermediaries, and there, if you one of your sites that we're going to encourage you to go to is the Career Connect Washington site, which we have a link on your Google form, which takes you to the directory, the Career Connect Washington directory, and it allows you to look at what are the different opportunities available in your region around career connected learning. In addition, we have our career connected learning coordinators. You got to hear a little bit from Shelly this afternoon. Shelly is a dynamo, and she is your go-to gal if you live in South Central Washington and you have a question about anything from financial aid, FAFSA, WASPA, you name it, summer melt and strategies to avoid summer melt. Shelly is that go-to person who always has resources to share. But across the state, we have career connected learning coordinators to support you no matter what region of the state you hail from. So once again, on your Google form, we've identified the slide number for you to go to in the slide deck to identify where the contact information is for our regional network, for our career connected learning coordinators, you name it, it's all right there for you. And as we bring today's session to a close, we wanted to give people an opportunity, first of all, wanted to allow just a couple minutes, and that's just what we've got, is any questions, any burning questions that you haven't been able to ask. We wanted to be able to give you just a couple minutes. If you could use the chat feature, any questions that we could answer as we bring today to a close, want to give you that chance. But you have to type fast because we only have a couple minutes. And if you have questions after today's presentation, once again, in your slide deck, all of our contact information is on that final slide. So Rachel has a question. How do we help students after they get to college to continue to stay in college? Fantastic question, Rachel. Just so happens that, Kelly, I don't know if you want to jump on that or you want me to take a shot at it, but we do a lot of work with our higher ed institutions, and we look at where do the bulk of our students from South Central Washington choose to attend college. Then we work with those colleges to make sure we have a seamless transition from one caring adult in K-12 to the caring adults in higher ed. Shelly, you want to talk just a little bit about even the event maybe coming up that we've got going on with Central and how we partner with them once students get there?
I would love to do that. One of the things that we're working and developing is a cohort system. So as students across our region are going to specific colleges, we want to partner with that college and provide resources and support through admissions and financial aid and that summer transition, that summer handoff. So we figure we are working on new projects, which is super exciting for us, that as students from our region come together, they're going to be able to identify other students who are also applying and have been admitted and maybe have signed a letter of intent to go to that school, and through that cohort system, provide some of those supports. The other thing that I know that I have done as a career specialist is I regularly checked in with my students, even while they were at college, to see how they were doing. I invited them to help sessions, even in the summers after their freshman, sophomore, junior, and now senior year for a lot of them, on what their next transition piece is. We have incredible support systems with Gear Up and TRIO and camp programs and mentoring programs through our higher ed partners. And so we're hoping that all of us coming together will help those students stay in college.
Great. And great question, Rachel. Thanks so much. We want to end by one more resource, and another book is that has really impacted our thinking a lot in our region is a book by Mark Perna called Answering Why. And the link for that book, the Amazon link for that book, is on your resource page. But in the book, Mark Perna talks about a branch creaking moment. And if you grew up anywhere near a tree that you could climb, we've all had those branch creaking moments where, as a kid, I just think about climbing trees, and you think that branch is big enough to hold you, and you go out on the branch, and all of a sudden the branch starts to creak, and you realize maybe I miscalculated just how strong that branch is. Perna talks about the fact that in that moment, three things happen very quickly. We focus on what's going on. We make a plan how to get off that branch as fast as we can, and we immediately take action. He talks about in the introduction to his book that life is not so different than tree climbing. When we're standing out on a limb as we live our lives and things appear to be going well and on track, hearing a branch creak can announce that something's about to change in a big way. This sudden sense of urgency triggers us to focus on the challenges at hand, to plan a new direction, and to take action. In fact, dramatic action to avoid a dangerous plummet. Perna shares that whether we want to hear it or not, the branch in America is creaking. When it comes to the younger generations and preparing them to successfully enter the workforce, there are approximately 6 million open jobs in our country today, and no one qualified to fill them. We're facing a crisis in both the education system and the area of workforce development, and it's critical that we focus, plan, and take action before the branch actually breaks. Baby boomers are retiring in huge numbers. That's why we have our silver tsunami. Vast number of job openings in critical sectors: advanced manufacturing, construction, healthcare, engineering, aviation, and many more. And the skills gap that Kevin Fleming referenced. Millions of jobs in sectors crucially important to our economy and society are open, and no one with the right skills and desire to fill them. The branch is creaking. It's time to focus and to take action. Now is the time to embrace new strategies to empower and engage the young people of the Y generation and help them fulfill their vast potential. We want to thank you for attending today's presentation and the role that you play in preparing the next generation of workers to move seamlessly into the in-demand family wage jobs of the future. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. We hope that this has been beneficial to you, and we encourage you to explore the resource page that we provided. Have a great afternoon.